Good evening. Good evening, Harris. How are you?
Good.
Glad to hear it. What's new?
Uh, Last weekend was my birthday, and I went to a fancy restaurant to. It's a buffet, and
Mm-hmm.
they serve a lot of seafood,
Mm-hmm.
especially uh Japanese food like sushi and lobster and
Yeah.
crack,
Crab.
crack,
Yeah, crab.
crab. Yeah.
Crab. Yeah. All right. Very nice. Very nice. It was your first day of what? I don't know what you mean. You said
What?
last weekend was my
Birthday.
it was your birthday,
Oh, birthday. Birthday.
right? Yeah, all
Yeah.
right, very good. So happy birthday.
Thank you.
All right. So sounds delicious. What did you eat? Did you eat all of those things?
Uh, I I only eat maybe two times for the lobster because it's
Mhm.
inconvenient to eat. You should
Is
use the I don't know what the tool's called, but you should use a tool and you get only a little meat.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of work for a little bit of meat.
Yes. So more I eat more sushi than lobster, and I also eat some
Hmm.
teppanyaki. So that they roast, no steam. Mm.
Hmm.
They cook the steak and what's called, and they cook the steak with a hot platform.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
very interesting. Yeah, it sounds, yeah, you have to work hard for a little bit of lobster meat. So yeah, I can understand that you ate other things
Mm,
rather than just the only lobster. But yeah, sounds delicious.
mm.
All right. Okay. So today, tell me, Harris. So I've turned on the downloading option, okay, for the videos, so you can download the video after the lesson. Okay.
Okay.
All right. And then from there, yeah. So what we're going to do is we're going to continue with the reading, yeah, part aspect of our lessons. Yeah. So we're going to read the articles. I'm going to ask you questions about the articles. Yeah. So
Okay.
that's going to help you with your pronunciation and your thinking. We'll do some vocabulary as well. And then I see you have written something down in your journal. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at that, and we'll start there. Yeah, and then we'll go on to the reading. Okay.
Okay.
So let me just hold on. I'll share my screen. It's usually easier to do that. Then okay. So let us begin with your journal entry. Uh, Go ahead and just read your entry out
Uh, this was the comment about the class on 12 October 2023. In this class, Sam encouraged me to share life share my life on the 4-day national holiday. What the mistake I usually made in this class was use of article. Incorrect use of article could completely change the meaning of sentences, said Sen. He took the sentences, opened the window for me, and opened a window for me, for example. The former means to open one particular window. However, the latter means to open any of window as you want. As soon as Sam took a good example, I understand the difference between them completely.
Good, excellent. So this is one difference between the articles. Yeah. The articles are used in a few different ways. This is one of the ways that we use
Oh,
articles. So if and yeah, it's a very good example. Yeah, so let's take a look at how you express yourself here. So this was the comment about the class on the 12th of October. Okay, so here your opening yeah, so your opening sentence here today. You are talking about this, right? You're talking about what you're about to say.
yes.
Yeah. Okay, so this was a comment about the class. Now, we're going to formulate this a little bit different because it's your opening sentence. And so your opening sentence is basically giving me the base of the information that I need to understand your sentence, right? Or uh, the rest of your writing, your paragraph. And so the first sentence needs to be a bit more clear. Yeah, and this is going to help you also in the future when you're writing, for your test, when you're trying to communicate. Yeah, your first sentence or your first few sentences when you're writing an introduction, yeah, this is going to allow you to write more smooth later on, or even speak. Yeah. This was the comment about the class. So, uh, this was the comment. So I know what you mean. So here, you're setting it up very, very professionally. So what I would do here, I think the best way to do this would be, I had a class on 12th October. Yeah, you don't really need to write the whole, the whole date. Yes, because we're in October of this year. So you could say last week, or, I had a class on the 12th uh, about, and this is the comment I received. Something along those lines. Yeah. So it would be something a little bit more. So what happens? Um, yes, I know. Okay. Sorry. It's really annoying me. So when you switch the the subject, yeah, when you switch the subject around, it helps you to communicate sometimes a little bit more, yeah, a little bit more clearly. Yeah, I had a class on the 12th. If you start with the class, then you can talk about, and this was the comment I got, rather than this is the comment I got, yeah, on the 12th. Now, both are very clear. But for you at the moment, what I'd like to do is simplify your sentence structure a little bit. Because here, this was the comment about, yeah, when we're using the word, for example, about, yeah, this is a comment about my English during my class of the 12th. When you use words like about, you need to structure your sentence a little bit differently. Okay. I know this isn't quite clear, but yeah, switching, yeah, so finding what's most important and using that as your subject right now is, I think, key to communicating as clearly as possible for you. Okay?
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
So here in this class, yeah, in this class, Sen encouraged me to share my life on the 4-day national holiday. Here we have a little bit of vocabulary in this class. Sen encouraged me to share my life. So here on the 4-day, yeah, you can say on the, you could say during. Yeah, so encouraged me to share my life during the 4-day holiday, or you could even say to talk about my life. Yeah, but yeah, to share my life. I would probably change this to during the 4-day holiday, meaning yeah, between this and this time.
Okay.
It's a better word than on, because if you use on in the sentence, if you use on before, then it means that you're not receiving, that you're actually doing it during those days. You know what I mean? So you're sharing your life, yeah, on the 4-day, yeah, on the 4-day holiday. So you're talking to him during that time rather than telling him about your 4-day national holiday, right? You want to
Oh.
tell him about what happened during the holiday.
Oh.
Is that
Mm.
correct? Yeah. An example could be, I'll be in the office on Tuesday. Yeah, yeah, so I'm telling you what's going to happen on Tuesday. Yeah.
Mm.
I was in the office on Tuesday. I told you I was there on that day. So you're using on to talk about what was happening on that day rather than what you're trying to say, which is talk about that time. You want to talk about that.
Oh. Mm.
Yeah. So in this class and encouragement. So I had a class on now another thing you can do to simplify your life, yeah, is I know now that you're talking with your first sentence that you're talking about the class. So technically, as the listener, I don't need you to tell me in this class. So you could even just say, Sen encouraged me to share encourage me here. I'm going to simplify your sentence. Sen encouraged me to talk about my uh, 4-day national holiday. Yes, it's 2 words. Yeah, so you could hyphenate it. This simplifies everything, and I know what you're talking if you said these 2 sentences to me, I had a class on the 12th, and this is the comment I received. Sen encouraged me to talk about my 4-day national holiday. I know you're going straight into talking about the class. Yeah.
Mm.
No, because you're not changing the subject. You don't, every sentence doesn't need to repeat the subject. Yeah.
Okay.
If you want, it's fine. You can say during this, yeah, during the class, during class, Sen encouraged me to talk about my 4-day national holiday. Optional. Yeah, absolutely optional. Yeah. Let's continue. Do you have any questions so
No.
far? Any questions?
No.
Okay. Now here, again, what we can do is simplify. Yeah. One of the things we tend to do very often is use what and when or generally words at the beginning of our sentences that are not needed. You don't need these ones. What the mistake I used, yeah, or what the mistake I did, yeah, you don't need what, yeah, in this actual sentence because you can start with the mistake, yeah. The mistake I usually made in this class, don't need it because I know you're still talking about the class, yeah. So here you're talking about the class, and if you felt like, connecting these two sentences talking about the class, you could always do that. But now, the next sentence, it's not needed. It's definitely not needed in the third sentence because I know my responsibility as the listener is to follow what you're saying about the specific subject. Until you change the subject completely, you don't need to continue. Yeah. So let's say you're talking about the class, but there's a sentence or a couple sentences that you change the focus to something else, and then you want to return talking to the class. Then you would use so when the class continued or any kind of indication that now you're talking about the class again. Yeah, you stop talking about the class for a little bit and then you want to return, then you can use it again. But that's usually with the subject. Okay. This takes practice. This takes practice. So don't worry about that. But with this practice, you're going to realize that your flow, your fluency is going to increase. Okay.
Okay.
The mistake. Now you're saying here's your article mistake again. Yeah, you're talking about the specific mistake, so you're not going to use the plural. Yeah. So the mistake I usually make, or I usually made, you're referring back to the specific class, so past tense is fine. The mistake I usually made was use of article. So here you're describing the mistake. The mistake I usually made was the use of articles. Yeah. So you need the because this is your specific mistake. Yeah, because you're just giving me the detail, so it's the same concept as here. And we're going to use plural because you're using articles more than once. There are more articles. There are lots of different ways of using the articles. So even though you're making that one specific mistake, you're making that one specific mistake many times. Yeah. And so there are more than one article. So we're going to put it in plural.
Could I ask a question?
Articles. Yeah, please.
Can I write the mistake without that there? So I just write mistakes I usually make.
Let's see. So during class, mistakes I usually made was you could, but you change the sentence structure. So if you don't use the and you pluralize mistakes, then you would say mistakes I usually make are, and I would probably switch it into the present tense because then you're making a statement. Then you're making a statement. So we'll discuss the difference between the simple past and the simple present. But generally, this is what it is. When you're using the simple past tense, you're speaking directly to your experience in the past. But if you use the simple present tense while you're talking about something that happened in the past, you're making a statement. You're making you're talking about a general truth. Yeah. And so if you're speaking about a general truth, then you can put it into the present tense. So if you took the away, I would naturally put it into the simple present tense because I am making a general statement about how I speak English rather than discussing directly the mistakes I was making in that class in the past.
Mm. If I use the past verb here, does it mean that I didn't I don't make mistake right now?
No, no. It just means that you're specifically speaking about your class, about your, yeah, about that specific time. Yeah,
Uh,
so that's how the simple and past and present kind of work. When you're talking about your experience in the past and a specific experience, you're always going to, or generally, you're going to be using the simple past tense. But the second you're talking or telling me about a general truth or a general statement, you'll switch into the simple present tense because it is the general. I like this. It's true then, and it's true at any point in time.
okay.
Yeah.
Mm,
So you would say the mistake I make is, you know, not using the article correctly or the articles correctly. Yeah. So that's how you would generally speak about the mistake you always make.
mm,
Yeah.
okay.
So in this case, I would just stick with the mistake I usually made was the use of articles. Incorrect use of, now here, I would use an article. Yeah, incorrect use of an article could completely change the meaning of sentences. Said, yeah, said. So I would say un here because you're talking about any of the articles, specifically if you make a single mistake. If you make a single mistake of an article, that will, yeah, of any of the one articles, that will lead to the meaning changing. Okay?
Okay.
Incorrect use. Otherwise, what you would do is without the article, you would make this plural.
Mm,
Incorrect use of articles could completely change the meaning of sentences. Yeah. So you have two options here, basically. Option number one is in is articles. Yeah, so what we're going to do is just take this section. Yeah, so you could do this. Correct use of articles could completely change the meaning of sentences. Or your next one is incorrect use of an article could completely change the meaning of sentence. Yeah. And those, that's, you don't need and, okay. But that's generally speaking. Yeah. So those are your two options. Yeah. So this is speaking in general terms. You're generally saying these are the general, yeah, the general mistake and what could generally happen to any kind of sentence. Here, you're also speaking of an article, but you're giving a specific example, yeah,
mm,
of a sentence. Incorrect use of an article could completely change the meaning of a sentence. So you're speaking still in a general term, but you're giving me a specific, yeah, example.
okay.
English is fun, isn't it? All right. No, no. He, uh, the sentence is, so he's the sentence. Yeah. So here, because you're talking about the specific sentence, this is the sentence you're talking about. Even though he changes it and gives you two ways of using it, he's taking this one sentence as an example. Yeah, the sentence, open the window for me. Yeah, open the window for me. Or if you want to say he told you both of these sentences at the same time, yeah, let me give you, yeah, an example between these two sentences. Then you would say he took the sentences, open a window for me, and no, fine. Yeah, he took, no, sorry. Um, I'm being silly. So this is an example of specific example, right? The sentences, right? These are the two specific things. Sorry, I'm getting carried away. For using an example. So I would say as an example. For example is fine. I would say as an example. You can also say for an example, but you're talking about again, this is an example that he's giving. This is his example. Now we use an here because it's just an example. If you want to be specific, you could say the example. Yeah, he took the sentences, open this for me, and open a window for me as the example. But he's given you many examples, I'm sure, in your lesson. This is a way of just saying this is the example. Yeah, so an and the here, eh, interchangeable. What means of window of the window. So here, yeah, we got. However, the latter means to open any of the windows. Now, particles are a funny thing. You're you're talking about the example, right? So the meaning, the way he explains it is fine. But one of the ways we also use them is when we talk about something at first, we'll use when we introduce something for the first time as we speak, we'll use and on. Later, when we refer to the same thing in our sentence or in our paragraph, we will use the so that we know that we're talking about the same. Yeah, we're talking about the same thing. So here we're using the because it's the same example. It's the same, yeah, we're talking about the same window. And so it's referring to the same thing in the sentence. And that's why we're using, yeah. And that's what I mean by there are many different ways that we use the articles. So an example of this is, well, uh, last week I saw a dog in the park and there was no owner. It was very confusing to me because the dog had a leash on. Yeah, so first I introduce the dog. A dog was in last week, a dog was in the park with no owner. But the dog, yeah, had a leash on. Now I use the because I'm referring to the exact same dog previously mentioned. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So it kind of it's the same example a little bit as what he's given you, right? In the sense that at the beginning, I'm introducing any dog. It's a dog in a park that I saw, right? It's not a specific, it's not, my neighbor's dog. It's a dog. So I'm introducing something generally to you, and then later it becomes specific because I'm talking about the same dog. So that's the same concept. That's the same concept here. Yeah. This is the first kind of, an example, and then the window is the same part of the same example. As soon as I see example, I understood past tense. Yeah. Uh, because you're talking about your experience. Yeah. As soon as He gave me this example. I understood. You're talking about the moment that you understood the concept in that lesson in the past. If you wanted to make a statement, we would say something along the lines of, as soon as Sen took a good example. So as soon as Sen gave me a good example, I understood. So took, I would say, gave, and we give examples. As soon as Sen gave me a good example, I understood. It could easily be changed to, however, the latter means to open any of the windows as you want. Now, I under so now you're making a statement. Yeah. Now you're making the statement. This is your statement of, once I understood this, yeah, or after this example, now I understand and I will continue to understand this. So you're just making a general statement about your understanding. But here you're talking about the experience of understanding.
Uh,
At that moment, boom, I understood. Yeah, so you're talking about the specific moment in the past where you started to understand.
mm,
Okay.
okay.
Now the switch between simple and simple tense and past and present. We'll discuss that in a future lesson. Okay.
Mm,
I think what might be helpful is to go through the tenses together and give examples of and read some examples. Okay.
okay.
Sorry, this was a little bit of a messy one, but I had like thinking about the article examples that your previous teacher was talking about, and then trying to like focus on other things in your sentence was a little bit tricky for me. So yeah, sorry about that. It was a little bit messy, a messy example today.
Uh, no problem.
Okay. So recap what I'd like you to remember. There are different ways of using articles. Yeah. But the example that he gave is really good. Next time you write, focus on your articles. Yeah. Just focus on one thing. Keep writing, obviously, but really try and focus on how you use the articles correctly. Yeah.
Mm,
Second thing I want you to focus on is your subject. Yeah. So when you're talking about something and that general topic is not changing, try and find a way to talk about it without having to repeat, having to repeat the subject. Okay.
mm. Subject is the first word in a sentence.
Subject. So when in a basic sentence, right? In a basic sentence, what you're going to think of is subject, verb, and then the object of your
Uh,
sentence. Yeah.
mm,
So generally speaking, the subject can also be taken as the topic of discussion, right? To simplify, what you're talking about in this example is your class, yeah, with Sen on October 12th. That is generally your topic of discussion, and so generally tends to be the subject, the first subject of your first sentence. But then what happens is you want to make sure that I know that you're still talking about the class. So what happens is because you want to be as clear as possible, you start to repeat in the class, in the class, in the class, right? So you basically start repeating the topic that you're talking about, but you don't have to.
Mm,
Yeah, you don't have to do that. So the reason why you're doing it is because you want to communicate, you feel like you want to communicate as clear as possible. But what happens when you do that is that the fluency level drops. So it makes your speaking and it makes your writing very choppy because you're repeating something over and over
okay.
again. So trust yourself. Yeah, that's basically what you want to do. Trust yourself that if you're still talking about the same thing, that I know that you are still talking about the same thing.
Mm, okay.
All right. That's enough of that for now. How about we choose something to read?
Okay.
Anything here that interests you, just go ahead and choose it, okay?
Uh, the the least visited countries. Hello. Wait.
Go ahead. Which one?
What are the world least visited countries?
Least. Yeah, interesting. What are the world's least visited countries?
What are the world's least visited countries?
So what I want you to do here when you're reading is to slow down and really pronounce your words, okay?
Okay.
Cool. But first, tell me, what does crowd mean? A crowd.
Proud
Crowd of people.
or
Yeah,
crowd?
what does that mean? A
Uh,
crowd.
a, a lot of people in the place.
So here, go ahead and just read the
A
definition and
large
example.
a large number of people gather in an unorganized way. An audience at a sports events, concert is that exact
Etc. This is just short term for and continues. Yeah. A
such
large number of etc. Yeah. So it's a word that means and so on. Yeah, and the examples can continue, right? So sporting events, concerts, uh, outdoor meeting, whatever. Yeah, the so any kind of place where people gather. And here gathered. So don't forget the ed
uh,
sound. Gathered.
gathered gathered
All right. Let's go to lounger. Lounger.
longer
Any ideas? A lounger.
no longer no I have no idea.
Fair enough. Go ahead and read the definition.
A comfortable chair for relaxing on, especially one outside that adjusts to allow a person to lie down.
Lie down. This is a lounger. We call them
Oh,
loungers.
okay.
It comes from the
Longer.
verb yeah, it comes from the verb lounge. When you lounge, it means you're lying down and relaxing,
Oh,
basically to lounge. Yeah.
longer.
Um, the adjective available.
Available. So it's you are able to get something.
Able to do something, yeah, to get something, able to be used, bought, yeah. So when we're talking about describing something as being available, yeah,
Uh,
and we're being able to use, bought. Yeah. For example, I could tell you I am available tomorrow. Yeah. So I'm describing, yeah, having you can book a lesson tomorrow, or you know what I mean? So we're describing my availability. All right.
Does it mean so you have a free time? Someone can invite you to
Uh,
some place?
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm available. You can describe yourself as being, yeah,
Oh,
able to do something as well. Yeah. So here you can read the example, another kind of example.
the game will be available for purchase online on February 11.
Yeah. So now we are describing the game's availability for purchase. Yeah. Destination. What is a destination?
The place you are going to, you are aiming to go.
Aiming to go, going to, yeah. Go ahead and read the example.
Um, Bali have become one of the most popular destinations for so surfers in the world.
Bali, Bali. So a
But
place where a person or thing is going to. So it's the destination is the plan, right? It's where you're going. Give me
okay,
1 second here. Sorry about that. Okay. Very good. Destination, damage. What is damage?
damage. You break something.
And read the definition.
To harm or break something. Oh,
Yeah, so to damage, it also means to, you might not break it completely. There might be a scratch, right? So damage is in between a scratch and completely broken. Yeah,
okay.
very good.
That's
Volcano, that's a good one. Volcano.
so it's a mountain where it will come up with a what's called uh
Hmm.
the fire. I mean the fire
You could say
or
fire. Yeah, you could say
the
fire. There's a term for it. There's a term, but we'll read the definition. You'll find
okay,
the term in there. It's probably not the most used English word in the world.
yeah, a hill or mountain with an opening in the top through which lava gases, etc., are being or have been forced out.
So we're talking about lava. Is melted rock.
Uh,
Yeah, it's
yeah,
melted, hot melted rock. Yeah, so that's lava. Yeah. So
lava.
when I'm asking you, for like descriptions of nouns and things like that, so sometimes it's good to try and picture the thing that you want to say, right? And try and give as much detail as possible. So a mountain with an opening at the top where, something comes out, right? I want you to really maybe think about giving a little bit more detail in your explanations, okay?
Okay.
All right, let's get to the reading section. Now, here, like I said, slow down, try and pronounce all the words as clearly as possible.
Okay. What are the world's least visited countries? Are you tired of big crowds on holiday? Have you
Tired, right? Are you tired?
oh are you tired of big crowds on holiday? Have you had enough of busy beaches, races for long tours and long lines for ice cream? Is the is If the answer is yes, then this is the list for you. These
The list.
list
List.
list for you.
Yeah, very good.
These are the world's least visited countries, according to the latest United Nations World Tourism Organization report.
So here, listen to the difference. List,
List,
least,
least,
list. One more time.
list, least.
Least. Yeah, very good. All right, keep going.
The report doesn't actually include every one of the world's countries because not all of the data is available. But these are certainly some of the quieter holiday destinations. Of course, there are some good reasons for that. Most of these places are difficult and expensive to get to. Tuvalu, Tuvalu,
Tuvalu. Tuvalu.
Tuvalu. Tuvalu
Yes.
is a good example. It's at the top of the list, which used data from 2019 because of the changes in travel caused by the coronavirus.
Coronavirus.
Coronavirus pandemic. According to report, just 3,700.
You skipped the. According to the report.
According to the report, just 3,700 people visited
3,700.
700 people visited this small country that year, made up of 9 small islands in the Pacific Ocean. It has a population of around 10,000. Tuvalu is a 2-hour.
Yeah. So around 10,000, period.
10,000 period.
And so no, so just watch out because your flow into the next sentence, right? So you say it has a population of around 10,000. Tuvalu is yeah. So when we switch sentences, right? Sometimes we, if we're really focused, sometimes we just go straight into it. We're like, of around 10,000, Tuvalu is, right? So you need that pause to reset for the next sentence. Okay.
Okay. Tuvalu is a 2-hour journey from Fiji, but there
Yeah.
but there are usually only 3 flights each week. In fact, the 5 least visited countries were all islands in the Pacific.
And here is the list. Tell me, have you heard of any of these?
Probably not.
Yeah, I've heard of two. I've heard of the Solomon Islands and I've heard of the Marshall Islands. But those are the only two I've ever heard
Have you been there?
of. No, no, that like these are really in the middle of nowhere. You know, like if you go here you go. These are the Marshall Islands. Like you can't even see them. There they are. I've never been there. It's not far. It's not far from you.
But it looks pretty good, like
Yeah,
for vacation.
it looks pretty. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Yeah, definitely. All right, that's all the time we have for today.
Okay.
Very well done. Yeah. So your pronunciation is very good. Yeah, you're doing really well. What I would say is focus on those ending sounds. Yeah, the ed ending sounds. Yeah, still need a little bit of work. So pronouncing them the correct way and pronouncing them clearly. But yeah, all in all, very good. Do you have any questions?
Uh, I I listen to the cafes you recommend. It's called
Hmm.
listening time.
Yeah, and
I think it's really really good for me because the speak the speak he said
speaker.
is slow,
Hmm.
so I can if I in if I face a word I don't know, I can just stop and try to I use a sound to try to guess what the word is, and I write it
Right.
down and compare, listen several times and check on the transcript he wrote.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great. So I'm very happy that that is working out for you. You can always bring your questions to me as well. So you can always say, "Oh, I've been listening to this, and I'm not sure what he means here," or "I'm unsure of these things," because I can always help you with your comprehension as well. Okay.
Okay. So
All right.
I I think it's the time is pretty long, but I can actually listen at the end of her, his podcast. So I'm not about like I can listen without a transcript and understand like about 80%.
Right. No, but that's perfect because what it's going to allow you to do is focus a little bit more on the vocabulary. It's going to allow you to focus a little bit more on comprehension. So understanding the flow of English and how he connects different things. But yeah, no, I'm happy that it's helping you. And like I said, that last 20%, if you have any questions, you can always bring them into the lesson and I can help you there. Okay.
Okay.
All right, Harris, very well done. Like I said, I have turned on the download if you want to download the video, and I will see you next time.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Bye bye.